Hey everybody, John here. Welcome to another boot review. We've had a German invasion. This, ladies and gentlemen, probably mostly gentlemen, is the Gen 1 German Army issue jungle boot. And we'll be talking about this thing for the duration of this video. Where I got to tell you, excitingly enough, I got a Gen 2 in the Land Rover. So that review will be coming up soon. I'm going to put that boot aside for a minute so as not to distract you. I want to talk to you about wearing the thing, because it's a little different than an American issue Army boot. I wore it for a week. I don't really know how to describe it other than this. Have you ever gotten into a really nice performance car, like a Corvette or like a little Mercedes or something, and it's like a bitch to get in. Like you're wiggling and stuff and trying to get in there, but the minute you get in, you're like, yeah. That's the way it felt with that boot the first time I put it on. Pair of 10.5 regulars, and initially they went on a little tight getting in there. But once you're in there, you're like, yeah, this is going to perform well. And there was a little break-in period for maybe the first 2 days, which I hadn't run into before. And it's a good but a different boot. It's a really good but different boot. It's not a combat boot as far as what Uncle Sam issued us. And it's not a jungle boot as far as what Uncle Sam issued us. This is something I am declaring entirely in its own class. And that might be something of interest of you, because if you're looking for something in between the two, this might meet that need. It's $100 or there, but it's like $109 on Amazon. And I'll provide the link down below where I got it, and also provide the Amazon link. I don't care where you get it. I don't get any money from Amazon for mentioning their crap. But, and I say this might be a boot fitting a middle need, and we'll get to that in a minute, but, you know, the Rothkos and the Foxes and stuff in their $30 to $50 range are what I would describe as Boy Scout crap, and they feel that way. And the McRae's and the Altimas are like sort of in a class by themselves. And this boot is a very interesting boot. So let me take off. I wear my McRae's all the time, so I'm going to keep my McRae handy. But let's talk about the German boot. And I think this thing is made by somebody named Baltes, is the name of the factory, the company. So let me see if I can put them over here. All right, hang on. Okay, I'm rebuilding an engine. Pardon that mess. Okay, so German boot, American boot. Okay, let's do a side by side. Now, the interesting thing is the American boot has more stitching here. On the German boot, there's less. Okay, I don't know if that matters. To me, it sort of does. I figure the more stitching, the more the thing's going to last. Now, let's look at the stitching here. Just one course. Or wait, no, I stand corrected. That's 2. On the McRae's, they got what? 4. Okay, so there's that. Now, as far as the width of this here on the McRae's, the upper, it's all sort of about the same size. But again, notice a lot more stitching here than on the German boot here. Okay, there goes my dipstick. Anyway, so there's that. Now let me put the McRae aside for a minute, and let's really dig into this thing. the thing that I found really interesting about this boot was the fact that we've got speed laces that go all the way up. Hang on. Okay, so we've got these speed lacing things that go all the way up to the top. On the McRae, you see we got the two holes down below. Now, on my boots, this is important. See how I tie this little knot here? That's not for decoration, ladies and gentlemen. That's so when I've got the boot completely open like this, when I go to pull that string, it doesn't pull a lot of the shoelace one way or the other. This keeps that's the center of the shoelace, and that keeps that basically centered in the boot. Okay? Now, let's go back over to the German boot. German boot, as I said, has speed laces all the way up, and you'd think that you could grab this lace and essentially pull that lace all the way out, unloosening it, if you will. But here's the really interesting thing. Let me see if I can show you. See this one here? You see how that one's a little different shape than this one here. Now, what this is here we are. So, once I get the bottom part laced to the point where I like it, then you pull it tight, and that locks that in there. So this bottom part here is essentially set the way you like it. And then from here on up, it adjusts as you pull the laces. Really an interesting feature. Now, the other thing I found kind of interesting is this part here on the German boot, this bridge, if you want to call it that, or whatever you want to call it, is higher up, which I like because on my foot, right across here, on the McRae's, is sometimes where I'll have a little pain, I'll be aware of it on the top of the boot. But on the German boot, that seam is higher up. A little interesting. Now, the fun thing about the German boot, not only does it have a collar, this is nylon, we're going to discuss this in a moment, but it's got this loop back here to help pull it up. That's kind of fun and appreciated. Now, this boot is a source of confusion for me because the McRae has vents and has the canvas. I would say this boot is designed with the intention of wearing it around in the bayous of Louisiana. Let me put this aside. But this boot is like a boot without a plan. Like this boot is too hot for to compete with the McRae. This boot is, well, it's insulated, is what it is. This isn't just the nylon. I did some looking. This in here, this fabric apparently is the German version of Gore-Tex. So the boot is designed to breathe, but because of that fabric, it's a bit hotter. And I'm here in the desert. It's 100 out right now, and it's about 7 o'clock in the evening. So I did not enjoy wearing these boots towards the end of the week. But still, as I said, as an intermediate boot between the truly lightweight canvas McRae, lightweight in both weight and material. So as I said, I'd be wading around in the bayous of Louisiana all day in those. Or a true combat boot with the leather upper and all that. This is a nice, interesting intermediate boot. Now again, I believe, and I could be speaking out of turn, I believe that the Gen 2s don't even have these vents here. And we'll see in the next video. But what I've read is the logic is that when you put the boot on and lace it up, and this collar basically forms a seal around your leg, the idea is that the boot is watertight. Not waterproof, but watertight. So you will eventually seep water in, but not to the degree that you would, say, with a boot like the McRae, which is designed to get wet and then start shedding the water as quickly and easily as possible. The McRae boot has a really nice insole. This thing, let me see if I can get it out. Remember this thing from the original series from Vietnam? Well, they're using them in the German boots. So what that means to me and what that means to you as far as wearing this thing is, at the end of the day, your feet are a little sore, a little sad, a little looking for a rub down. As opposed to the McRaes, I wear them 12 hours a day, and they are like slippers. If I was going to do this, if I was somebody out there looking to buy a pair of boots and watching my video, here's what I would do. I would buy this pair of boots in a larger size than I normally wear. So in my case, instead of buying a 10.5 regular, I would have bought the 11, maybe the 11.5 regular. I would take this out and I would put a nice $40 or $50 complete bottom Dr. Scholl's insole in there. But really not, I wouldn't cheap on the insole. And I would put that in there, and I think you'd be able to run the day in these. I don't literally mean run. I think you'd be able to go all day in these boots. One last interesting thing, if and when you start thinking about these boots, the sizing is actually punched into this leather piece here with very small pins. So if you hold this thing in the light at the right angle, you'll see. Oh, I guess I should mention that. You better start thinking about, there's UK sizing, there's European sizing, and there's NATO sizing. I think you want to learn how to decode the NATO sizing. You'll get a better fit and get something closer to what you'd want. Anyway, I'm going to post this tonight. I am going to include right now a teaser of the Gen 2 picture, or boots as a teaser, but we'll review those at a later time. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, we'll talk to you later. John out.